What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. The title of the show is Saudi Sale, and the reason for that is because there's a lot of our current players being linked with moves to Saudi Arabia, including Antony, Sancho, Varane, but Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka being the most recent links, and heavy links as well, in fairness. So what we're going to discuss today is which ones are the most realistic, which ones are the most likely, to happen that we think in our opinions, and which ones make the most sense from a financial and a footballing perspective as well. So that's going to be the main topic. But there is stuff about Greenwood, Luke Shaw, Maguire being back in training, stuff around the goalkeepers with Bayern Deer and Andre Onana being dropped, stuff on Benzema as well. So loads of shit to get into. So as always, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and get involved in the comment section because we read them out very, very shortly. Right. Lots of links, Shreyas. Like I mentioned, the report's coming out today. Al Nassr are lining up an audacious bid for Casemiro and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Man United are open to selling Casemiro this summer if they can recoup a chunk of the £70 million they paid for him. That's coming from Chris Wheeler. It looks like Cristiano Ronaldo's having a little bit of an influence there, especially on the Casemiro one. Not sure about the Wan-Bissaka, but definitely the Casemiro one. Let's start with them two first, and then we'll work our way through the others. Is it time to sell both, or how do you feel about individually? Talk to me about maybe Wan-Bissaka first and then Casemiro.
I think with Wan-Bissaka, I think from the club's perspective as well, I think his time is up, considering how things have been heading, considering, how so many news articles have come out within the past few weeks, especially I think after Ineos have actually, come in and it's been announced, we got the new CEO in as well. The Aaron Wan-Bissaka thing has actually gained more momentum. We are hearing West Ham want him, we are hearing Palace want him, now we are hearing Saudi clubs are interested in, bringing Wan-Bissaka in. And when it comes to the transfer front, we haven't heard anything about Diogo Dalot being linked to any club at all. So it just means that, he is on his way out. Because if there is, I think at United, if any player is unsettled or, there is even a 1% chance of them actually moving away, it. It leaks out in one way or the other. And with Dalot, I haven't heard anything at all. With Wan-Bissaka, I've been hearing it all season. That he's going now, then maybe in January he can go as well. So I think...
Do you think he's unhappy, Shreyas? Or do you think he's quite settled at United? What do you read from him?
It's really hard to actually tell right now. Because
it's hard to read him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard. And
he's just fucking one of them, isn't it?
Exactly. I think when it comes to game time, he wouldn't be too fussed right now because of the injury issues we've got. Luke Shaw is out, Malacia is out, so you've only got two fit fullbacks right now in Diogo Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. So I don't think that playtime is a problem.
Yeah,
I just think maybe it has to do with the way this manager wants to play. Maybe, but I personally think his time to his time at United is coming to an end, and he will be leaving the club, whether it's to Saudi or a Premier League club. That's a completely different conversation, but I think he will be leaving. With Casemiro, I wouldn't actually let him go.
Before you get to Casemiro, because you mentioned about, I think that's an interesting kind of debate there about Saudi and Europe with Wan-Bissaka. Given his profile that he's at the moment, do you think he'd be open to Saudi? Because that feels to me like you're kind of writing off your career a little bit if you go in there. I don't know if that's fair to say.
I had the same, when Ruben Neves got announced, it was a shock. When even Milinkovic-Savic actually got announced, because I thought maybe he should. Yeah, exactly. So there have been loads of players who've actually gone there, not even that old, like in the prime of their careers. So with Saudi, you never know which club, which type of player they are able to attract, because right now they've got a big profile of, veterans and, icons.
One thing is for sure.
Well. Yeah.
Whoever he plays against on the side is just locked up in it. No matter whatever winger, Mane, whoever.
Look, Telles has gone there, and Telles is one of the best fullbacks in their league. So, and Wan-Bissaka is a much better fullback than Alex Telles is. So he goes there, he'll be the best fullback in the league without a shadow of a doubt. But with Casemiro, I wouldn't actually let him go right now, because I think people are very quick to judge Casemiro. Like, genuinely right now, they're very quick to judge him.
Agree.
Secondly, players like Casemiro, they don't go crap overnight. I think he's genuinely a player who can play at the top level easily in his 34s and 35s as well. Like, he's got that caliber and got that experience, and on top of that, he's got that fitness and the hunger to actually play on that level. On top of that, he came in last season, and he was incredible. Like when he was not playing, I don't think we won even a single game after Casemiro was fully a part of this team. There hasn't been a single game where we've gone and won when
Player of
Casemiro.
the season.
Yeah, hands
Really, wasn't
down. And for the first time, he's probably made United's midfield actually look like, a top four midfield, having him in that midfield. The moment you take it out, it's a mid-table midfield altogether. So,
it?
and even now, people say he's not been performing that well in the starting end of the season, but even when he had not been performing well, he was the top scorer and assister for us. Like when he was not
Output
playing
was
well.
decent,
Yeah,
innit?
yeah,
Midfielder.
and at United, I would say this season any midfielder playing in that sixth position hasn't played that well. Amrabat came and
Yeah.
Amrabat wasn't that great. Casemiro played,
Just copying
Casemiro
it,
wasn't.
really.
Yeah, and Menu, he's a very decent player, but you can see him struggling in a lot of occasions as well because he's
Yeah.
absolutely left overexposed. You can see it in the West Ham game, you can see it in so many games this season. So I think it's got more to do with the system rather than Casemiro just not being able to replicate the form that he had last season, because last season it was a lot more organized in our midfield. This season it's not at all organized, and you need players like Casemiro because yes, you are able to sell him, but who can you bring in into that dressing room who's got 5 Champions Leagues in his career, who's won practically everything?
You know what?
Yeah.
You literally just read my mind because that was going to be my comment after we spoken about Varane. I was going to say, like, how much experience do you want to get rid out of your team? Because
And we
if you get rid of
struggled
all
with
your
it.
winners,
Yeah.
what are you going to do then?
Yeah, and we've struggled
know what I
with
mean?
it. I think post Sir Alex, we've struggled with this for quite some time, that we've not got enough leaders in this team. And for a change, right now we've got Varane, you've got Casemiro, players who've played at the topmost level, won the biggest trophies in the highest pressure, pressure situations as well. They've come out as diamonds. So I don't see any player right now out there. First off, I don't think that we'll be making the Champions League anyway. So that limits down your options a lot when it comes to attracting players. And then you want to offload your best players pretty much. Like even genuinely, when Casemiro comes back in, if this system gets a little more organized, he'll once again be the best player in our team, hands down. Same goes for Varane. Whenever he's played this season, he's looked very decent.
Do you think that train's passing by though, a sense where you can? Oh, sorry, excuse me. Bloody hell!
Yeah.
Caught me throat there.
Yeah.
I'm getting choked up about Casemiro. No, but do you think it's at that kind of phase now where if you're going to recoup the money that you paid for him, it's like at that bit like this summer? Because if you let it go past that, I know they're offering daft wages, and if they're paying Henderson 700k when he went, God knows what they're going to fucking pay Casemiro. Because it should be about 4 times that.
Yeah.
But if you're from United's perspective financially, does it make sense to sell him in the summer?
Right now, if I say financially, I still don't think that it's the right call to make. Because I think genuinely overall, even if you sell Casemiro, max you probably get because of his age is 40, 35 million, 40 million. Even if Saudi
Even with
comes in.
Saudi?
Yeah, I think Saudi hasn't really splashed the cash on anyone except for the wages
There's more
part.
wages, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only
Yeah.
been wages. Never been that they've come in and they've like signed a player for like 200 or 300 million. It's never happened. They've
Yeah.
offered that in wages, not as transfer fees. And I think rather selling players like McTominay would make much more of a difference, because that is a 100% profit situation. You've got a player coming through the academy, you sell him, and I think even McTominay right now, he can pull 35 or 40 million easily with the kind of stats that he's pulled this season, and probably he ends this season with just 2 or 3 more goals. It's a decent season for a midfielder. So
I don't think McTominay's Scottish skin could handle the Saudi Arabia sun, to be honest with you.
yeah, even if it's a club like a Newcastle, a club like a Palace, club like Wolves or somewhat, I would still, I think it makes much more sense to offload players like McTominay, because right now we look to him on the bench because we've practically got no other option but to look at him. If we are able to get rid of him, you've still got Casemiro, you still got Meno, you bring in another 8 who can be on the bench for us, and then you've got Eriksen, you've got Mount, and then you've got another alternative who doesn't just crash the box and score. That's the only thing that McTominay can do, and even that's hit and miss. That doesn't happen on a consistent basis either. So I think the players that we are focused on right now, we are focused on Casemiro because of the wages, and I think just because of the fact that, he's had practically one of the best seasons any newcomer to the Premier League can have. Like, genuinely, a newcomer to the Premier League, it's the best season that he's had. Now that he's not replicated that this season, which once again he has been injured for quite some time as well. The system hasn't helped him either, but he's still if you have to compare it midfield, every single midfielder on their day, I would say Casemiro is one of the best, like better than Bruno, better than Eriksen, better than Menu, better than every single one of them.
I think if you put him back in Madrid's team now, they wouldn't look out like, you know what I mean? He'd probably still be the best there. Like, I do agree the system's exposed him extremely, but we have got other players to discuss as well, so I kind of want to move on to them. Jadon and Anthony, this is one, obviously, it seems like they're going to want to stay in Europe. It's the same theory with Wan-Bissaka, effectively, that the fact that are they going to want to go over there at the age of 21, 22, like they've still got years ahead of him in the career, and especially the level that Sancho's produced in Europe, obviously not Anthony, but he was decent, half decent for Ajax. Do you think any of them would go over there and chance it for a bit of for the cash? Because the wages they're offering, you could only imagine what they offer Jadon Sancho if he's getting 350 at United.
I really don't know if those two will make a move at this point in their career, to a Saudi club. I really think it's very unlikely.
Think United sell them as well?
I think United will sell them. I genuinely think United will sell them because,
I agree.
Ineos are coming in, they're going to be ruthless, and coming in, with the people that, we have got coming in, you've got the CFO from Man City, Omar Barada, coming in. He's been our rival. We've come up against them on so many occasions. So even he can pinpoint what are United's weaknesses right now. That City almost exploit every single game against us. He'll go left, the right hand side is absolutely dead. Only the left hand flank is something that produces. Yeah. And on top of that, he'll go, the only way United have been playing well is when Rashford on the left hand side has been producing for them. Because on the right hand side, it's been 6 goals a season, 3 goals a season, 4 goals a season. It's never been even half of Rashford's numbers, like 15 or 20 goal a season.
Since Ronaldo left Trials, we haven't really had a
it's never been that way. And I think the first time I've seen the right wing actually have some intent is with Garnacho actually playing there. That's the only way I've seen some freshness in that right hand side. So even from that perspective, he can go, we need a complete revamp on that right hand side. We need to bring in someone naturally left-footed, naturally who knows how to make the right decisions at the right time, and he knows how to, search this side, these kind of profiles. He's brought in these sort of players all the time at Manchester City. Like, the list is endless with their right wingers or even left wingers. And I genuinely think that at United we need some consistency on that right hand side, because it's way too unidirectional at United when it comes to our attacking side.
They're going to want to cash in though, aren't they? Sure. That if you look at the money that they've spent, them two in particular, like 150 mil.
I think with Jadon Sancho, you've got the perfect opportunity to actually increase his price by like a 10 or 15 million if he has a good spell at Dortmund. So
if he performs at Dortmund. Anthony's going to be the tougher one. I can't see.
He got an assist in his debut back at Dortmund as well. So if he has a decent season, sell him for more, 10 or 15 million more. But with Anthony, I think it's best to actually offload him while you can right now. Because if he's producing this, he's gone an year or 11 months now without scoring a goal or even an assist. So
the ironic thing is, I think they're probably going to sell him for the price that they got offered him when they turned him down, like 25 mil, probably 25, 30 million quid.
Imagine he stays another season, doesn't score or produce anything, and that 25 falls down to 10. The thing is, for a player at United, for which, especially an outfield player, and it hasn't worked out, you cannot give them time more, because the thing is, the more time you give them, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse with the pressure, because that player will go, I've been here 1 season, I've been here two seasons, so you cannot even make the statement that he's reintegrating or he's adapting to the Premier League. You've got enough time. And then when you are being put into games, especially the big games, and at United, if you're in the European competitions as well, whether it's the Europa League or Champions League, you are expected to actually produce something whenever you're on the pitch. And you cannot go, 11 months or 12 months without even a single
Yeah,
goal or
it's
assist is something that is completely unacceptable at a
insane.
club like United. And it's not that,
Absolutely insane.
with Anthony, it's not even been a situation where you can go and say, he's been out for like 7 months or
Nah,
he's not been picked.
no
He has
excuse.
been regularly picked. Whenever he's been available, he's been picked. He's been given minutes on a consistent basis as well. He started a lot of big games for us this season and he's done nothing at
When
all.
Sinat got asked about this in a press conference, he said, "Oh, he had a good pre-season,"
Yeah.
and you're like, Eric, mate, that was like 6 months ago. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, how can you be referencing pre-season when we're halfway through the fucking season? Like, and he was like, "Oh, well, then he had the thing with his, outside issues and da 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 and all that." It's like, I don't think it translated from the Eredivisie.
I
That's
just
clear
think
to
I just
see.
think
So I
it's
think
not even
if
the
they
bare
can get
minimum.
a chance now to get
Yeah.
the money, you have to fucking cash in.
I think
for both
even
of
if
them.
it's a 25 million offer or even if it's a 20 30 million offer, just take it and
Yeah.
go on with it. I think right now United really need to focus more on the fact to bring in someone new and provide them the right environment to actually do what they can on the field for us, because
Yeah.
it's been way too long that we've not had a fluid attack in front of us. It's always been misclicking. One season Rashford is working, one season Ronaldo came in and Ronaldo worked terrific in that season. Then one season you've got Bruno who's playing like the best midfielder to ever play the game. It's always been, inconsistent and the timing has never been
Disconnected.
right. Yeah. And
Always been
I
disconnected.
don't even remember the last time where I can say the whole attack, the number 10, the left wing, then the right wing, and the striker, all four are connected and they are both playing at the top of their ability. I don't even remember it.
Mason, Marshall, Rashford,
Yeah,
probably.
4 months,
to be honest.
4 months of COVID. that's
When
it.
when Bruno
Yeah,
came in, I'd
in.
probably say
Yeah.
that's the best the attack's been, especially in terms of statistics and numbers as well.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Rafael Varane very, very shortly. Make sure you get your comments in. I can't see the chat, Shreyas. I don't know if you have the
Yeah.
chat up in front of you. If there
Sure,
is that.
sure,
Is
sure.
there any comments at all?
Yeah, Lindell of the Goat is in the chat. He's saying keep both because Casemiro will be worth the same whether now or later. John Tracy saying get them all out. Jay McGrogan in the chat, good to see you. And he's saying I thought he was meant to be used as part of the swap deal for Olise. I think he's mentioning Wan-Bissaka there. And David Pearson saying I'd sell all four of those options, but I'd sell Onana before all of them.
Onana is definitely an interesting one, and we're going to talk about him in the next kind of topic. We're going to speak about Varane, and then we're going to talk about the goalkeeping situation. But yeah, you've all made very smart comments there, and I tend to agree with him as usual. Rafael Varane, Treyas, is an interesting one, isn't it? Because you don't want to get rid of, like we said, all your experience at the club and people who have won mega trophies, but at the same time, availability is hard to come by with Rafael Varane. So it's hard to manage that because I love him as a defender. I think he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
But do you bring in a Todibo and have Varane there as a mentor and keep it? So how do you manage the wages as well? Because he's on 300 and odd K a week now. United are open to keeping him if they can lower that wage down. But then if Varane's getting offers in Europe, which I don't think he wants to go Saudi, I think James from Up said he wants to stay in Europe.
Bayern was still interested in him
how do
to
you manage
actually
that?
bring him in. So there have been a lot of clubs.
Swap deal.
Yeah. So, I think with Varane, the thing is, it's not that clubs are not interested in him. He's generated a lot of transfer interest and a lot of clubs will be actually, looking to bring him in. I would personally keep him because I think right now with the way football is being played, and I think genuinely the number of games that these players have got to play, I think any club right now needs 3 top choice centre backs, in their arsenal for the entire season. You look at City, all their centre backs, even when they've got the likes of John Stones, they've got Ruben Diaz, they've got Nathan Ake, they've got Guardiola, their new signing as well. They've got so many centre backs at the club, and somehow everything. Akanji as well, exactly.
Yeah.
So and somehow all of these defenders end up playing like 30 to 40 games a season. Every single one of them.
He plays them as wing backs as well, don't he? To be fair,
they
do.
But even if you look at Liverpool,
sometimes.
they've got Van Dijk, they've got Konate, they've got Joe Gomez, they've got a couple of more players in there, and even they, end up playing like 30, 40 games a season. Same goes.
But you know what the upsetting is?
Yeah.
The whole thing is about that. You look at them two you mentioned, Konate and Van Dijk this season have been fucking unbelievable. Yeah. And you look at Bayern centre backs, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, strong, quick as fuck. Look at our centre back for most of the season. It's been a dusty Johnny Evans
and Maguire,
and whoever's fit enough. Yeah, whoever's fit enough to play alongside him, basically, isn't it?
Exactly, and every single club out there has got a decent system behind them. Like genuinely, if you look at Madrid, they've got they've got David Alaba, they've got Militao, they've got Rudiger. Even when they're all fit, they've got three top choice centre backs to actually choose from. They've even got Nacho, who I still think is a very underrated centre back to have at your club. So, and
Yep.
United, we only got two decent centre backs, Varane, and then you've got Lisandro Martinez. If either of those are
I,
injured, I would say you'll have to play Evans, you have to play Maguire or Lindelof. And the one flaw with playing them is you cannot play that high line football. You cannot, because if you
no.
even try to make it happen, especially in this system, you'll get scrambled for goals every single time when you lose the ball out in the final third. So we need someone in, whether it's a Todibo, whether it's Silva, whoever we end up bringing in. I think if we actually offload Rafa Varane, we need to bring in two decent centre backs then, because even with
Yeah.
Lisandro, I love him. He's a fantastic centre back. When he's fit, he's
Or
one of
will
the
he get
best.
injured again?
Exactly. He's been here 2 seasons and he's been out for half a season every single. So he's practically been out a year in his first 2 seasons. So you need alternatives to play with, which don't end up, completely changing the tactic you play with.
And what if they sell Maguire as well? If an offer comes in for Maguire in the summer and you can go for, I don't know, 30, 40 million and they accept it, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm happy to keep him around. I just don't, there's two things with this. One, I don't know if he's happy to stay as like that third kind
Exactly
of,
my point.
in
I
and
think with
out
Lindelof,
choice.
I
And
can
then I
still
don't
say, I think
think
with Lindelof,
he's
I
going to
can
be
still
happy with
say
his
that,
wages
yeah,
as well.
and I think with Lindelof, I can still say he's all right being the backup. It's not that
Hmm.
he wants to be
Hmm.
that starting. He's all
Yeah,
right.
it's not pushing too much there.
Exactly. But with Maguire, I still think he sees himself as the first choice. He wants to be playing week
For
in and
sure.
week out, and I don't see it happening at United. I genuinely don't see it
No.
happening. So he's been having a decent run. It works in our favor. We can drive the price a little up and probably get like 5 or 10 million more. And I think outgoings are going to matter a lot more. Players like Maguire, they all fit in that sort of
Oh,
a
yeah.
category. So
Yeah.
we need to be smart with the players we offload. And I think the first ones shouldn't be Varane. It shouldn't be Casemiro, because I think it is still easier to offload Varane and Casemiro, because there are going to be a lot of clubs interested for them. It is going to be much more difficult to offload players like
That's
McTominay
the
and
annoying thing, isn't
Maguire.
it? The ones we actually want to get rid of. So I
Yeah,
think we'd probably agree, if Saudi came in big money for Sancho, Anthony, Wan-Bissaka, we'd be like, probably. But if they came in for Casemiro or Varane, you'd be like, not entirely sure about that. And that's the annoying thing, because they'll go in for the players we don't want to thinger, and
yeah,
they'll probably end up selling them for cash reasons and financial reasons. So that is, yeah.
yeah.
We'll park the Saudi discussion in a minute. Is there a chat you want to read out?
Yep. Lintel of the Goat saying we could have got 60 million for McMuffin and Maguire. And yeah, West Ham came in with a deal in the summer for
Yeah,
a double
I
swoop
remember
of
saying
60
as well.
million.
You probably remember me saying
Yeah.
it, like 30 mil. I reckon we get more for Scott McTominay, but then the way to be honest, I weren't wrong, because his price has probably gone up
It
now.
has,
Like, you
it
could probably
has.
sell him for
He's
more.
got 5 goals
But
in the
then
Prem.
we've had to endure him for all the season playing in the team, so it's like you're kind of half wrong and half right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to talk about the keepers. Someone mentioned Onana before. I think it was Jay McGrogan. Dropped for Cameroon. Huge shock. Still a fallout. Weird stuff going on. Plane arriving late, not turning up. Just like loads of stuff going on with him at the minute. Bayindir, on the other hand, set to start against Newport. Two questions going into this. Loaded questions, I may add. One, are you excited to see Bayindir? Or two, do you think we'll understand why he hasn't been playing? Which one
It
do you
can
think it'll
be,
be?
first off, it can be either of the two. I hope he has a decent outing, because
Mm,
right now I actually think what could be worse than Onana. Like, I think what could be
yeah,
worse than Onana would be that he just completely, deserts the entire back line and, isn't even at the goal post and just, goes to the bench and sits and watches the whole game. I think that's the.
he's been a car crash on Onana, if we're
He
being
has.
honest.
He
Like, of a
has.
signing, he's not been great.
With United, we all know, it's a very, very big transition for us to actually change goalkeepers. It has always taken us multiple seasons. It has always taken us a lot of time to find the right fit. It took us a lot of time finding Edwin van der Sar. It took us a lot of finding David De Gea, and there were a lot of decent keepers we got in within that space of time, and they just didn't work out for us. And I think Onana is once again going to be one who falls into that category. Um, and personally, if he is sold in the summer, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised at all if he's sold in this summer itself, because it just hasn't worked out. Like, it genuinely just hasn't worked out. People can say that he's worked out in the Premier League, but the reason Ten Hag is in the pressure that he is in, under right now, is because he got us out of the Champions League. Because I would say, even if we are 8th or 7th right now, but Ten Hag was still in the UCL. He was still in the in the round of 16. The pressure would have been considerably lower on him, because people just would have said, it happens. We've got tons of injuries. Then all those discussions would have taken place. But right now, because he's out of the Champions League, it narrows down the scope a lot more on Ten Hag. And we're out of the Carabao Cup. We're out of the Champions League. We're just in Premier League. We ain't winning anyway. We're not making top 4 either. So it's just the FA Cup left now. So I think bringing Onana in at the time, it was the right call, and there were a lot of expectations from him, but it just it just doesn't.
It hasn't worked.
No, it
hasn't.
It hasn't.
You have to be
lasted at all.
honest. Like, you brought a guy in to play out from the back, and I know you've got Evans there, and you've had massive injuries and da. So then you kind of expect the other side of his game to really come through strong. And it's not even just the shot stopping; it's the claiming crosses. He's stuck on his line; just does not move off his line.
Exactly.
He looks awkward saving it. I know he has that unorthodox style, and I did a whole video about it, how Ajax have tested it, and it's supposed to be better. It just doesn't work in the Premier League, and we know. Keepers have crumbled. We saw Dubravka last season play one game, shit his pants, and then go back. Barthez had a huge reputation, won a World Cup, came over, shit his pants. Like, just, I don't know what it is about his club. I don't necessarily think he's a bad goalkeeper. I just think,
like, if anyone you just sees him at Inter, if anyone saw him at Inter, they would have said, he's someone who's really
one of the best
decent.
keepers
in
Europe.
Exactly, and I think it's going to take us time to find it. Like, if at the start of the season when I saw Kovar, I said I would rather place my bet on him, because for an academy keeper coming through, it's not as much pressure. With Onana coming through, definitely is going to be a lot more pressure, because he's been one of the best keepers in Europe last season. So when he comes into the Prem, especially at United,
there's an expectation.
Filling in the boots of David De Gea, who's been there for 11 or 12 seasons, been the best for a good chunk of that period as well. There's going to be a big pressure. And I think with younger keepers coming through, it's a little less, because even if they do make a mistake, there is the hope that, they're still young. With time, they'll become better and better and better and better. Onana came in with a lot of, PR and a lot of expectations, especially he was one of Ten Hag's most prioritized signings in this window as well. And I wouldn't have let go of Kovar. I would, even if it meant that,
For 10 mil?
Yeah.
Nah.
Even if it meant that, we wouldn't have got Bayern Digir or anything, I would have just kept him. I would just kept Onana. Because I think
that's the confusing thing. Why fucking spend 10 mil on a second choice keeper, sell a really good prospect in Kovar, and then just not play him? Like, that makes no sense. I don't care what anyone says about FFP.
Exactly.
Bullshit. You're spending 10 million on the player anyway. Like, it's fucking nonsense, that.
And I think that's the reason, even if Ineos actually come in there, I think they're doing this 100-day strategic review. If they start, they've got 2 big red marks on that board right now. One is Onana and one is Antony. And both are Ten Hag's most prioritized signings.
The one thing, though, about Onana is he's half the price Antony costs. So it's not, the end of the world. He's still got resale value. You can still probably sell him. I mean, even if I'm a team in Europe now, I'm looking at that as a deal. I'm thinking 25, 30 mil for Onana.
Yeah.
I'd go pay that. Because he might not be doing well at United, but I guarantee you bring him, into back to the Italian league or wherever it is. He'll probably flourish.
If Inter come in back for him, you can sell him back there. Maybe he once again is able to find
cut price.
Yeah, and the problem is, again, been with Onana is, it's not just that he's been bad for United. He's even been bad for his national team as well. He's been dropped.
It just seems like awkward. Like, you know what was the final straw for you with Onana? Because for me, it was that Galatasaray game.
Yeah.
Them Ziyech free kicks. After that game, I was like, nah, I'm done with this guy. I don't care what he does after this now.
For me, the final straw was much before that. It was when Casemiro sacrificed himself on the pitch against Galatasaray. He made a mistake.
Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah. And I was
Either way,
that,
it's Galatasaray,
yeah,
innit?
yeah, one way or the other it was Galatasaray, but I just thought that, if it meant we were getting this, I would have just kept there. I wouldn't have had any other options.
I
I
will
would have,
hold my hands up
yeah,
because I was pushing for as much as anyone to say we need a ball playing goalkeeper like desperately. But the big red flag for me now is I'm missing De Gea. I would happily take De
yeah,
Gea back right now.
yeah,
In a
yeah,
heartbeat, I would take him back because yes, he was deficient in playing out from the back, but he fucking pulled us out of the mud sometimes with some of the shots that he did.
Oh,
That's what I'm
definitely,
missing.
definitely. Like
Oh.
one of that's his strong play as the keeper. And right now we
Yeah.
genuinely need a wall in between the
Yeah.
post, because we concede from very awkward angles. We give some very stupid fouls in very bad positions as well, and for that you need that sort of a keeper. I mean, the game against Aston Villa is once again, it's very hard to forget Onana's mistakes because they're just so vivid that you can see what
Yeah.
he's doing wrong.
You knew it was going to happen before it as well.
Yeah.
John McGinn setting up that set piece, and you're like, I'm like that watching
Yeah.
the fucking game because you know what's going to happen. And I literally said to my
Yeah.
girlfriend, this will be one of those where it doesn't hit anyone and it just fucking falls in. And he's stuck on his line. He doesn't move.
Yeah.
Set piece
And
again as well.
sometimes if I think maybe he's overconfident that he'll save it and it just wiggles through
Exactly.
him. Maybe it's
Yeah.
that, and maybe it's just because of his technique, but ZX2 free kicks, the way we concede or set pieces, whether it's free kicks, whether it's corners, he just isn't there. Like, maybe he wants to take it under control, but with the way with the way we play, and even he knows that we are not a team that can bounce back if we concede the first goal, and especially an early goal. Just get it out, like just
Yeah.
evade, just clear it out.
I
But
thought his interview was interesting. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When he's talking, oh, you think I went from the best goalkeeper in the world to be this bad? Yeah. Yeah, you have.
and then
We've
he
watched
said,
you all
yeah,
season.
and then he said, it is difficult at times, but it will happen. It takes time. It will take more time, and I'm just saying it will take you more time, but Ten Hag will leave.
Yeah, you'll be gone,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, your manager will be fucking gone. So I think, the time is running thin, certainly, with both of them players. Speaking about players coming back, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, both involved in team training today at Carrington. Anthony and Amad Diallo in training as well. Leach and Varane and Casemiro, which is obviously fantastic. No Mason Mount though, yo. I was gonna say yo though. No, say no Mason Mount, yo. I don't know why. No Mason Mount though in training. I don't know what the fuck's going on. He's another one just injured constantly.
Donny 2.0.
I really want to see him back. But the players that I mentioned there, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, if we could keep these players fit, and the ones that I've just mentioned, if we keep Ahmad, Leach, Varane, Casemiro, what's the highest we'll finish, do you think? And who will start against Newport as well, do you think? Give me a couple, not your full team, because we'll
Sure.
save that for the preview.
I mean, Bayandere is starting. That we know already. So
Yes.
hope he has a good game against
Put the lottery
Newport.
on.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think Onana will be watching that game pretty closely as well. He'll be hoping, like, if he has a good game, I'm
Please
gone.
don't have a good performance against Newport.
Like, imagine
come on.
if he gets an assist.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
throwing the ball out, he gets the assist.
Idea like that. Like,
Yeah.
his gloves like, come on. I'm taking your spot, mate.
And I think apart from that, Casemiro will be back, Lisandro will be back, so I'm very happy to see
Oh, I
them
can't
both.
wait.
Um,
Against Newport, you think? I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to start him against Newport. Don't feel right.
I think
know
before
why.
Wolves he should, because you don't want them rusty against Wolves, especially
Yeah,
against
true.
a team like
Take
Wolves.
him off half-time, maybe,
Exactly.
isn't it?
So yeah, we bring them off at halftime, but they need a good chunk of 45 minutes because they've got the likes of, I think, Sarabia, they've got Pedro Neto, they've got Cunha, so they've got some decent runners on the ball. So you would want Casemiro and Lisandro to be sharp. If you have, and I still think that we'll lose at Molineux, but if you even want to have a fighting chance, you need to be, having them both match sharp. So I think both of them will play. Whether it's just a half, that's a different thing. But I think both of them will be playing. Luke Shaw, I'm still not sure. Like, if he's match fit, as he is training, but is he match fit? I'm still not sure. I think Ahmad will be playing. I think he's in training
Yes,
as well.
I
I
hope
think
so.
I think he'll be starting alongside maybe Garnacho, because Rashford had a shocking game against Tottenham.
Has
Even though he
Pulisic gone
scored.
yet?
It's still in the works. I think it's between
Yeah.
PSV. It's Granada actually want to sign
No,
him
Granada are
permanently.
pushing hard, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
somehow someone said we will not be selling him, so it's just a loan. Whoever it is, I thank him. So, so yeah, I think, but still, I think by the end of this window, he'll be leaving. So it means you've got Anthony and Ahmad fighting for that right wing position, or maybe it's neither of them, and Garnacho just solidifies that position on the right hand side. You never know, but
Yeah. Well, we'll save that. We'll save it for the
yeah,
Newport
yeah,
preview. The
yeah.
stunning preview that's going to be on Friday, discussing that in depth. The last topic, I'm going to have to push because we're pushed for time and maybe push for battery as well. Benzema, Dimitar Berbatov and Andy Cole both been speaking about him, Shreyas. Dimitar Berbatov said, I saw that United could be in the game for carrying Benzema. Someone told me that they may try to see what the situation is. He has already played at Real Madrid, so maybe he's talking to Rafael Varane right now. He may ask how the training goes, how it goes with Eric Ten Hag, what Manchester United looks like. Benzema is not happy with where he is and he just wants to play football. He no longer plays for money. He already has all the money, so he's an option for Man United. And Andy Cole also said as well, I think that's an interesting comment, 150%. I would sign him if it was only for a training session. Could he do it in the Premier League at his age? 100%, considering the way he looks after himself. If Manchester United have the opportunity to sign him, then they should definitely try and make that happen. United have got to try to look at least towards the end of the window with this. I know it's going to be Choupo-Moting. Let's just both accept that right now. We know it's going to be Choupo-Moting. But if we're to allow ourselves to creep off into fantasy land just that little bit, you have to try with Benzema, surely, to bring a striker in, right?
Of course. And, you've got Casemiro, you've got Varane, so maybe we can still pull him. Yeah, we can still pull him in. But I think he's the dream signing to have, Benzema, right now. And maybe he's one of those signings who just, helps you nick into top 4. Maybe he's able to make, because he is that sort of player.
Because if he goes Arsenal, do you think he could potentially push for the league?
Yeah, I think they win the league. I think they win the league if Benzema goes Arsenal. They genuinely do win the league, because I think it will, maybe they don't win it, but I think it will be very close between them and City. Like, genuinely very, very close, because City have got De Bruyne back. I class him as the same level of signing for Arsenal as well, because if you got Benzema in that lineup with Saka and Martinelli on the wings supplying him, Odegaard supplying him from behind, Declan Rice on top of that as well.
Knows him a little bit.
Yeah, so I think Benzema is just top class signing wherever he goes, whether it's to us, whether it's to Arsenal. I think he'll be a star signing, because he's not a striker who just scores you goals. He's a complete forward. He absolutely wraps your attack. He is able to, make the runs at the right time. He is able to, switch on and switch off inside the box whenever you want him to. His awareness and scanning is pretty good as well for his age.
His awareness, that's the best thing about him.
Yeah.
His positional sense is outrageous for a striker.
But I think right now, United do need him a lot more, because I think even in the 6 months, it will be tons of help to Rasmus Højlund. It will be tons of help to Rasmus Højlund. Because
learn loads of him. And they like both dropping. Rasmus can play to feet. Like, I can see it really, really working. I can. I'd be happy if 6 months.
And if you just need someone to crash the box and score, just play Benzema as the secondary striker behind him. Yeah. It will work a lot better. It will genuinely work a lot better than having McTominay playing that role. So, and even if Rasmus is able to learn 3 or 4 things off him in that 6 month period, next season we'll be seeing a much different version of him. So it makes a lot of sense. Whether it will happen or not, I think Jordan Henderson actually leaving Saudi has made a lot of heads turn. That maybe it can happen if he is left on the wages that he is on, and if Benzema isn't that fussed about taking a wage cut, then maybe Benzema can go as well.
Well, we started talking about Saudi and somehow ended up finishing about Saudi or a player from Saudi. So let's see what happens. This has been the show about the Saudi sale. Let me know your thoughts on it. Leave a comment. Would you take Karim Benzema at Manchester United? Are you excited for Newport on the weekend? If you are, we're going to have a preview on Friday. Make sure you check us out on socials, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Real Reds Talk. Have a lovely week, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow for another fantastic show. Thank you to Shreyas as well. Peace.
See ya.